SickBoy from the Gaminganarchist Collective and welcome to the Anarchic Eye for the 23rd of January 2014. Well, the saga continues. King, the developers of Candy Crush, have decided to hold up an IP claim against the Banner Saga, the Viking RPG, because they believe it infringes against Candy Crush Saga and a number of their other games that utilise the word saga in. Apparently they're claiming that they hold trademark to the word saga as well, so you can't possibly make a game with the word saga in. They came out and claimed they have no problem with the Banner Saga existing and them to use its name. However, we would be stupid not to use our legal powers to do whatever it takes to protect our IP. So you can't possibly say that you're not interested in screwing over the Banner Saga, but you are going to report that their trademark is actually infringing yours. They've come out and said, the Banner Saga developers come out and said, we developed this game 3 years, we started this game for 3 years, we're calling it the Banner Saga, that's its name, that's what it was going to be, and we're not going to change it for anybody. In response to this, some indie developers did a little indie game jam and started to make games that were all titled in order to infringe and take the piss out of the Candy Crush Saga title. So, using titles like Candy, Crush and Saga to utilise as many games as possible to try and flood the market with cheap or free games that would include the names that would be synonymous with Candy Crush. I think the whole thing's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Really, Candy Crush, really, King, is this what you're going to do? You've got a shitty game that annoys everyone on Facebook, okay, that some people enjoy playing, mostly people who I have on my Facebook who I don't really talk to, but all I get is invites and I come play Candy Crush and they can go suck my dick. I've got no interest in your fucking Candy Crush, and I've also got no interest of you trying to step on the toes of actual legitimate games to try and ban their name because it might damage the reputation of your shitty little microtransaction riddled nightmare. You want to stop that shit. Well, the Tomb Raider Definitive version has come with some ridiculous snags today. Oh shit, it's been hilarious. Basically, Square Enix have come out and it has been broken with testing the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 versions of the Definitive Edition of Tomb Raider. It turns out that one is somewhat more definitive than the other. The PlayStation 4, they both run at 1080p. The PlayStation 4 runs at an average of 60 frames per second. The Xbox One, an average of 30 frames per second. They have said that this is an average, and so the PlayStation 4 averages at 40 and the Xbox One averages at 30, although it can raise up as high as 45 frames per second. Hardly definitive, considering that 30 frames per second is what the title was running on the previous generation consoles. I mean, really? So what you're saying is that the Xbox One port of Tomb Raider is inferior to the PC one. So what's the point? If you've got PC hardware and an Xbox One, buy it on the PC, for fuck's sake. Why would you bother? Why would you bother a slightly upgraded textured version when you could get the Game of the Year edition? I can't remember what it's called. I think it might be called the Complete Edition or something, with all the DLC on your 360 or PS3 for far less than you get this Definitive Edition. If you've got an Xbox One, just steer fucking clear. Seriously, why would you bother? Although, Jesus Christ, have the fanboys come out. This is the sort of shit that really frustrates me. Now, I'm going to put this up and I'm going to read through it in a really sarky voice, but I'm going to blur out the name because the person has since deleted this from NeoGAF, clearly because they've received so much feedback, because it is possibly the stupidest thing you will ever hear. All the peeps in the gaming world have been going crazy over 30 FPS and 60 FPS standards this last year. From 60 FPS 1080p being thought the next generation standard to rise downgrades. But there are a point many people are missing, one of which I hope to shed some light on today. The point why 30 FPS can't and shouldn't be even be replaced with 60 FPS. 30 versus 60 FPS. The magic of the storytelling lies in lower FPS. 30 FPS will always deliver a more cinematic experience than 60 FPS. Of course, making quite a bold claim, and the burden of proof lies with me. One which I'm more than willing to shoulder. Let me begin by saying that the minimum limit that our brain needs to perceive moving frames is a seamless entity. A video is 24 frames per second. This is one of the reasons 99% of all movies are shot in 24 FPS. Sorry. No. Sorry, I'm gonna break character here. One movie, The Hobbit, was filmed in 48 FPS. Everything else in the history of cinema has been 24 FPS. Not 99%, you mong. Anyway. Though this was originally due to sound hardware limitations of old cinema, it has now become the cinematic standard. The 24 FPS of the cinema industry is roughly equivalent to 30 FPS standard of the gaming industry. When you see a video shot at 24 FPS stroke 30 FPS, there are holes to fill, and your brain automatically does this by literally creating stuff out of your imagination, also known as movie magic. The more frames you increase, the less your brain fills in and the less the magic. Proof of concept, Hobbit 2, 24 FPS versus 48 FPS analogy of the 30 FPS versus 60 FPS gaming standard. So notice how the 48 FPS looks, sped up, weird and almost too real in a bad way. This is called the soap opera effect because you grew up in a world where reality TV and soap operas were shot at higher FPS. Our brains are now hardwired to associate mundane reality with higher FPS. Fucking can't carry on. No, I will. And I think you can see what I mean with our brain filling in the gaps at lower FPS. The original trailer looks magical and truly cinematic. Of course, you might be one of the minority who actually likes the sped up, but in my opinion, this is probably because of the novelty value. 30 FPS versus 60 FPS. The more frames per second we increase in our gaming standards, the less magical they will feel. I remember when playing Alan Wake at 30 FPS and it felt unbelievably like a movie to me. The sudden attacks of darkness and the way everything was moving about. I wonder if the magic would have been there at 60 FPS. If I could clearly see how everything moved, probably not likewise in cinema, the smoke and mirrors fall away with increased FPS, and storytelling is all about the illusion. Of course, some games would actually benefit from higher FPS, like racing games or fighting games, but games in which story is the main part would be better off at 30 FPS. Can you people finally drop this 60 FPS is better nonsense? Okay, Buttercup. Right. I don't even know where to begin with that. Yes, there is an issue that when watching cinema on 48 FPS, it appears too real. Do you know why it appears too real? Because it looks better. That's why it looks too real. We associate it because it's a giant cinema screen with people on dressed in clothes, and it looks like people with clothes. If you looked at the fact that they take the screen and they do speed up 48 FPS, they literally record it at half speed and then they double up the speed and then they have to redub. So it is a complicated procedure. However, when it comes to sweeping panoramic shots and action, holy fucking shit does 48 FPS look better. When you're looking at a game, fine. If you genuinely, even if you had a point, cutscenes in 30 FPS, fine. Most cutscenes aren't at higher than 30 FPS. A lot of them are locked to 30. But when it comes to a game that requires action, a third-person shooter, platformer, holy fuck, you'd be better off with high response rate. Because the thing is, the frame rate is connected to the responsivity of the controller. Hence why you mentioned things like racing games and fighting games that require better twitch. You also require good twitch with shooting mechanics, dipshit. Also, with platforming mechanics. Basically, any mechanics. Basically, higher graphical fidelity is a good thing. And for you to come out and try to defend that, and I've removed your username and everything and blocked it out because you clearly are too fucking embarrassed after deleting it, because I did go back to the same thread and your number has been replaced by somebody else's comment. But you're a fucking dumbass. This is stupid ass fanboyism. Now, Square Enix came out and they said that their gold standard was 1080p 30 frames per second. Anything better than that was all gravy. Well, the PS4 has shat all over the Xbox One with regards to that. Now, I don't know. I'm not going to start saying any kind of wild assumptions, but there has not been one game, not one multi-plat game, that has outperformed the PS4 on the Xbox One. Not one. Not one. That says to me, inferior hardware. Or inferior optimization. Now, clearly from the specs, it's inferior hardware, and possibly inferior optimization. I can't be certain. Now, I'm not saying that that means you shouldn't like your Xbox One, but what I am saying is if there's a multi-plat game, and it's available on PC, and you don't have a PlayStation 4, and you do have a PC, for fuck's sake, pick it up on that, if the port's okay. Because, Christ, the comparative quality is just not there. Well, the spokespeople of Alienware have come back and re-clarified their story that was breaking yesterday about that the Steambox will not be able, their Steambox will not be able to be upgraded. They have come back and said, yes, it can be upgraded. They even went and said that one of the core tenets of Alienware is that their hardware is upgradable. Bollocks! Bollocks is it, one of your core tenets? Surely what it is high market branding, high premium price, relatively low quality. Even though they're high quality, certainly versus store-bought machines, they rip the shit out of them. Custom machines, though, don't touch it. Anyway, so they have said you can upgrade components, but it's not very easy because it's very, very small. They are not trying to stop people from modding their Steambox. However, they have recommended, if you want a customizable thing, buy their X51. No, if I want a customizable machine, the last thing in the world I'm going to do is buy something like a branded Alienware machine. That is just dumb as shit. Anyway, guys, you've been looking through the 2020 vision of the Anarchic Eye. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll catch you guys later.